All right, let's get into section 5.8. It kind of takes a turn away from the rational numbers in a sense, and we're going to look at measures of central tendency, which means measures of center of sets of data. And we're going to use the mean, median, and mode as our measures of central tendency. So when it says to find the mean, it just means to find the average, right? Where I find the sum or the total of all of the data points, and then I divide that by how many numbers there are in the set. The median, think of median like on a highway, you hear the median of the highway, right? That is the middle. So when we order them from smallest to largest, the median is the middle value. Now, if you have an even number of data points, there's going to be two values that are the middle, and we have to find the average of those two. And then the mode is the most frequently occurring number. And you could have multiple modes, or you could have no modes, meaning they're all the same number of occurrences in the set. All right, or you could have a couple of them that have the same number of occurrences, so there'll be multiple modes there, and we'll look at those examples as we go through. So the mean is the average, the median is the middle, and the mode is the most. All right, and so try to understand that, because a lot of times you hear data that's given, it'll say the median home price, or the mean income for a certain area. And so understanding what those terms means allow you to understand what that data is actually saying. So first off, just to help us understand the mean or the average, right? It's a measure of central tendency, meaning the average will always fall between the smallest value and the largest value. So if I look at set 1, 195 is the lowest value, and 220 is the highest value. So my average is going to fall somewhere in between those two. And I want to give you a quick example of average. So you get your average, and that averages into your grade for a certain class. And I always get the question, well, how come my grade went down and I got 100% on that? And values pull the average depending on where they fall from it. So for example, if you have 102% in the class and you get 100% on your next assignment, that's lower than your average. So it's going to pull your average down. Now, let's say that you had 100% in the class and you get 102% on the next test. That's going to pull your average up because this value that's going in is higher than your current average. So that's how averages work, or how means work. So let me get this. Oops. All right, so let's look at a few examples of finding the average. So first off, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 data entries for this set. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to find the sum of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these together, and I get a total of 836. Okay, so that's the sum of my data points. Now, to find the average, I have to divide that by how many entries there were, and there were 4 that make up that 836. So my average, or my mean for the set, is going to be 209. Right? Notice that falls between 195 and 220. Now, it's not always directly in the middle. It's the average of all of them, right? When we talk about average, right, you'll as you get into higher math classes, you'll talk about outliers, meaning like all your data falls around this area, and then you have one value that pulls it way over here. But today we're just looking at just what does it mean to find the mean or find the average. So in number 2, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 data points. All right. When I total them up, right, when I add all of these together, it gives me 260. And then I have to divide that by 9. And we should get 28.8 repeating. A lot of times you'll see it given rounded to the nearest tenth, which that would round to 28.9. All right, see if you can find the average for set 3 and set 4. So pause the video here and see how you do. All right, so for number 3, when you totaled them all up, it should have been 26.5. There were 7 data points, so we divide by 7. And I wasn't getting crazy with my pen there. This notation, instead of being equals, right, this, when you kind of get that wavy line there, that means that it's approximately. And if you notice, my calculator didn't tell me 3.9. It was 3.8 something, and I rounded it to 3.9. In number 4, the data points totaled 23. There were 10 of them, so divide by 10, and we got exactly 2.3, right? I didn't round that, right? 23 divided by 10 is 2.3, so I left it as just that. All right, so let's move on to finding the median, right? Which, remember, we said that is the middle. Okay, so that is the middle. So the first thing I want to do is I want to order them from smallest to largest, right? Then comes 202, then comes 219, and then comes 220. All right, so the middle would be right here, right? There's 2 on the left, 2 on the right of that, but there's no point there because there's an even number of data points. So what I want to do is I want to find out what is 202 plus 219, and we should get 421. And I want to find the average of that. So I divide that by 2 because I have 2 data points there, and I get 210.5. So the median value there is 210.5. Okay, now, if there's an odd number of points, right, let's first reorder this. So my smallest value is 21, and it looks like 23, 23. Right, so let's cross those off as we go. Then we have 25, 27, 28. So 25, 27, 28, 30, 39, and 44. Right? So now we want to find the middle, right? The middle value there. So one way to do it is say, okay, there's the top, there's the bottom. Okay, next, 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 next. Right? Odd number, I end up with 1. Right? So 27 is my median or middle value, right? And notice it's right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 points below it. 1, 2, 3, 4 points above it. Okay, so my median value is 27. Okay, I want you to again pause the video here, and I want you to attempt to do number 3 and number 4, finding the median. All right, let's see how you did there. In number 3, there were 7 data points, right? Which means that we will have one value that is the median, is the middle, right? There was 3 below, 3 above, so 4.3 is my median. Now, in number 4, you'll notice that there were 10, so the median would be right here, right, where there's 5 below and 5 above, and I would have to take the average of these two. Well, it's kind of nice, they're both the same, so I know that 2 is the median value, the middle value there. All right, and mode, okay? Mode is the most frequently occurring value, okay? Now, if I look at number 1, all of these occur the same number of times, so there is no mode. There's no one that repeats there. They're all the same number of occurrences, so in that case, we would say there's no mode. There's no most frequently occurring value. In number 2, notice I have the number 23 occurs twice. Everything else just occurs once. So 23 would be my mode there. Now, in number 3, if I go through, there's only one value of 1.7. There's only one value of 2.5. There's only one value of 2.9. However, 4.3 occurs twice, and 5.4 occurs twice. So those occur the most in that set. So 4.3 and 5.4 would be the mode, right? You could have multiple modes. So here, if I look at number 4, 0 only occurs once. Okay, so 1, I have 2 of them. But look here, 2, there's 1, 2, 3. So 2 would be the most frequent here, because even though 1 occurs twice, it doesn't occur the most, right? 3 occurs twice, but that's not the most. 2 occurs 3 times. That is the most out of them all, right? Where here, these occurred the same number of times, and they were both the most, right? They both occurred twice, so that's why I would have 2 modes for that set. Here, even though a couple of them repeat more than once, they don't occur the same amount as the 2, right? That is the most frequently occurring value. Now, looking at a line plot to find mean, median, and mode, and we have to understand what this is actually telling us here. What this is saying is that I have 3 sets of points that are 10. 4 sets of points that are 12. 1 that's 13, 1 that's 14, 2 that are 16. So here's my set. I just have to take it from this information that's given to me. So I want you to take a minute, pause the video here, find the mean, the median, and the mode from this set of data. So pause here and see how you do. All right, so to find the mean or the average, right, if you total them all up, it's 137. There were 11 points, so divide by 11, you get approximately 12.5, right? It was 12.45, so we rounded that up to 12.5. The median, there was an odd number of values, right? So it's going to actually be one of our values. I don't have to take the average of 2 of them. It's going to be 12, right? And there's 5 points below, 5 points above. And then the mode, right? Even though 16 occurs more than once and 10 occurs more than once, they don't occur as many times as 12, right? There's 4 12s in this set. That is the mode. That is the most frequently occurring value. All right. Your practice starts on page 241. All right. 10 to 14 is going to be your sets of mean, median, and mode. And then 23 to 31 is some review that will lead us into section 5.9. So take a minute to practice these problems, right? See how you're doing. If you have questions, make sure you shoot me an email. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.